as a connection to wide receiver. Of course, the tight end position has a pretty major hole left by Austin Stogner's departure to South Carolina, and Jeremiah Hall leaving as well, taking his 32 catches with him.
Yeah, so as I look at the H-back room, I mentioned Kaden Helms in our conversation about the wide receivers. And Kaden Helms coming in as a true freshman out of Bellevue West High School in Bellevue, Nebraska, is a guy that I really believe is going to push Brayden Willis, who is the lone scholarship incumbent at the H-back position. Also, I think we're going to do away with the H-back designation. I think they're just going to be called tight ends going forward. So I tend to favor that just because I thought H-back, like nobody else in the country really uses H-back as the positional term except for Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley. So I think they will be designated on the roster as tight ends. That's the impression I get. So when we're looking at the tight ends, Brayden Willis is naturally the guy that comes back in position to assume the starting role in a full-time capacity. And he drew some starts over the course of the last couple seasons in a constant rotation with Jeremiah Hall and Austin Stogner. But coming back as a senior, fifth-year guy, he had the option to go to the NFL, had a pretty decent draft grade. He chose to run it back for one more season and take part in Jeff Lebby's offense and see what it could do for his draft stock. So he is the guy that you look at as probably the safest bet to start. Now, they're bringing in a transfer from the University of Missouri in Daniel Parker that's very much a blocking first guy. I want to say he only has 12 catches over 4 seasons at Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to fact check myself on that. But the point is, Daniel Parker's not a guy that's going to factor into the pass catching picture a whole heck of a lot. What the Sooners do have is they have a pair of very talented freshmen in Helms and Jason Llewellyn, a 3-star signee out of Aledo, Texas. I tend to believe at this point in time, Mark, that you're going to see Helms push Willis for his starting role. And here's what I will say about that situation. The mental aspect of the game matters a lot in that whole discussion as well, too, because I don't think anybody on the inside of that building, anybody that gets a look at the team on a day-to-day basis would deny that Kaden Helms' physical ceiling is a lot higher than Brayden Willis's. Kaden Helms is a guy that has blown people away in winter workouts thus far with what he's been able to do, his speed, his agility, and especially his speed and agility at his size, 6'5", 235. And so I would anticipate that he will push Willis, and I think we'll get some rotational action to start off the 2022 campaign. And again, I look at him much in the same light as I look at Javonte Barnes. If he proves that he's too good to take off the field, then he's going to see his usage continually increase and continue to increase. Now, with Willis, you have a guy that has been he's been a piece. I don't know if he's been a key piece, but he's been a piece for this offense dating back to 2019. His emergence really came in that memorable comeback victory against Baylor in Waco, where he scored the first touchdown of his career that tied that game 31-31 in the late stages of the fourth quarter. Ever since then, his production's kind of been capped almost. His ceiling has been capped by the presence of Stogner and Jeremiah Hall. Now he has the leg up in that he's the lone returner in this room. And so I would expect that at least initially Willis is going to be the guy that's getting the lion's share of the action at the tight end position. I don't know how heavily Jeff Lebby will rely on the tight end. That kind of remains to be seen. But what I do believe you're going to see is a lot of Willis to start, and you'll start to see Helms rotating in. And again, I think what he brings to the table in terms of his physical tools, Helms is a guy that might be too good by the end of the 2022 season to keep off the field. So you could see him starting to get more and more targets, more and more touches, more and more snaps as the season progresses.
Willis caught 15 in 2021, a couple touchdowns. Daniel Parker, for the record, those 12 catches came in 2021. So 12 receptions, 3 touchdowns last season, 41 catches for his career with 4 touchdowns at Mizzou.